Welcome to the Crunch Time YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing my regular season and playoff predictions for the upcoming NBA season. And this is going to be the last sort of team predictions video I do. If I'm going to be doing more NBA videos before the season, it's going to be more like individual players, awards, etc. So this is the last video I'm going to be doing on my team predictions, and I'm going to combine playoffs and regular season just so that everything is in one place. If I ever want to look back on it, can react to it at the end of the year. And that way I don't need to make two separate videos for two things that can just be combined into one larger video. So let's get right into it. So first I'm going to be saying the seeding for all of the teams in the Eastern and Western Conference. And then after that I'm going to be talking about my playoff bracket. So let's get started, and first I'm going to be talking about the Eastern Conference, and this is definitely the weaker of the two conferences, despite this being probably the strongest East there's been in a long time. So at number 15, I have the Detroit Pistons. I don't think they're going to be very good this year, but they do have a few good young pieces, Killian Hayes, Jeremy Grant, so that's that. Then I have the Cavs. It depends on how much Kevin Love plays, because he's probably going to get hurt. Drummond is still on the team. He's probably going to leave after the season. Hopefully Sexton and Garland can do something with Okoro. That's basically it for Cleveland. Just hope for young players can do good. Then there's the Knicks. Mainly just hoping for RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin to do well. Another younger team, as well as number 12 on the Eastern Conference, the Chicago Bulls. This team definitely has a bit more upside this season with Zach LaVine, but this is still a very young roster. Hopefully Patrick Williams can prove to be worth the 4th overall pick, and Kobe White, hopefully he can also have a good year. So we're going to go quicker with the bottom team so we can talk more in depth with the playoff teams. Then we have the Orlando Magic at 11. This team is definitely going to not make the playoffs in my opinion. There are just stronger teams in front of them, like number 10, the Charlotte Hornets. That Gordon Hayward contract is probably one of the worst in the league, but he still is a solid player. And with LaMelo Ball, Devontae Graham, they still have a few solid bench pieces in Terry Rozier. I believe they still have Frank Kaminsky. So they still have a few nice pieces. Maybe they can make a run. Wouldn't be shocked. Number 9 have the Pacers. This kind of was the team I just didn't have a spot for them. They just didn't feel like they belonged out of the playoffs or in the playoffs. So I put them at a 9 seed. Wouldn't be shocked either way for this team, to be honest. Then I have a Washington Wizards as 8 seed. They have Russ and Beal. That will be a fun duo to watch for sure. Do have a few young pieces. Have the Hawks at 7. This is one of the more interesting teams on this list. I just think the Hawks, they're going to shock a lot of teams this year. Trae Young is definitely going to improve. They did get a lot of pieces this offseason. They got Rondo, they got Gallo, a few others. I think this is going to be a shocking team to many. Number 6 out the Raptors. They definitely got a little worse this offseason. And the teams ahead of them, like Philadelphia, who's the 5 seed, they improved. They got shooters. There's the Miami Heat at 4. That isn't really what you'd expect from a team that just made it to the finals. That mainly is just due to, I just don't think they're the strongest regular season team in the league, and there are definitely better teams. So that's what I am talking about for them. Then the Celtics are at 3. I think Tatum's going to have a great year. Same with Jaylen Brown. Kemba hopefully can do better. Then there's Brooklyn at 2. I think KD, Kyrie works out pretty well for the regular season. Then I have the Bucks as the 1 seed, and Giannis just signed that Supermax a few minutes before the recording of this video. Great for the Bucks, as that Drew Holiday trade is paying off. Didn't matter what they traded as long as they kept Giannis. So now to the West, and this is a tough conference. This is the strongest conference, maybe in even NBA history. So 15 are the Thunder. This is obvious. They've blown everything up. 14 is the Spurs. This team has DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge, and they probably will not be making the playoffs. They should just trade those two guys. Pointless if they keep them. Number 13, I have the Kings. This could be a sleeper playoff team in a lot of conferences previous years, but I just don't see that much promise in this team for this season. 12, I have the Pelicans. I do think this team is going to take a few steps up this season. with Zion and Brandon Ingram getting more playing time. They also have Lonzo Ball, who can hopefully improve. They got rid of Drew Holiday, which is going to hurt them for now, but that probably will help them with the assets they got. Also, Steven Adams should be good for them. Number 11, I have the Timberwolves. They just need more pieces. D'Lo and Cat isn't enough. Number 10, I have Memphis. This is a very good team, considering they don't have too much star power after John Morant. But I do think they aren't going to make the playoff. Though they didn't make it last year. They were the 8 seed before the bubble started. I don't think they're going to improve record-wise, but they could be a team in the future to watch out for. And number 9, I had the Golden State Warriors missing the playoffs. This one was definitely tough because I could have seen the Warriors, Memphis, even Pelicans, or Golden State making it as the 8 seed, but I just had all of those teams missing. I just don't think Golden State has the supporting cast needed to really make a big run. I wouldn't be shocked though if they do make it. They probably are the one team, which I'm really thinking maybe I should just put them as the 8 seed just in case. But I took them out, and as number 8, I have the Utah Jazz. I think Donovan Mitchell is going to do really good. I think Rudy Gobert ends up leaving this team. I just don't see that working out long term. I have Dallas at 7. Porzingis being out is going to hurt them, but Luka's going to go off. I have the Rockets at 6. Harden and Wall, that's probably not as good as Russ and Harden. But chemistry's probably going to be better. And they also have Boogie. Hopefully he can do some stuff. At number 5, I have the Phoenix Suns. I have really high expectations for this team. I think they're a very big sleeper team. At number 4, I have the Denver Nuggets. This team definitely didn't improve as much as I hoped in the offseason, but they're still a solid team. Number 3, I have Portland. Number 2, the LA Clippers. And number 1, Los Angeles Lakers. So those are pretty self-explanatory. I am more high on the Trailblazers. I just think this is really going to be a good year for them. And now let's move on to the playoff part of this video. And I'm going to be doing the Eastern Conference, then Western Conference first. I'm not going to be doing it like everything round 1. This makes it easier that way. So the first round matchups are the Bucks and Wizards, the Nets and Hawks, the Celtics and Raptors, and the Heat and 76ers. So I think the Bucks win in 6. I do think Russ and Beal are going to give him a little bit of trouble. Not too much, but I think Bucks end up winning that one. And then I have Brooklyn winning in 5 games. I think this is going to be a tough matchup for the Hawks just because of how much veteran experience this team has with KD and Kyrie. Dinwiddie's been in the league for a while too, it feels like. And man, it's Celtics Raptors. I have this one actually going to 6 games as well. Going in the Celtics' favor, I just don't see the Raptors doing that much this year. Unless Siakam or Van Vliet take like a massive step up, I don't see this team really overperforming, making it past round 1, if I'm being completely honest. And then this is probably the toughest matchup in the round 1. Heat 76ers. And I'm actually going to be going with the upset here. I'm going to be going with Philadelphia over the Miami Heat in 7 games. I do think this is going to be a very tough matchup for both teams. But I just think Philadelphia, I think Simmons is going to do great. I think Embiid is going to do great. I think Tobias Harris is going to do solid. And then they got nice supporting pieces. They got rid of Al Horford. They have Danny Green, who is definitely overhated. He's not the greatest, but he's still solid. They also have Steph Curry. So they've gotten a few shooters. And I think Miami, they are going to be very good. I just think Philadelphia matches up better with them. Because I think Embiid matches up better with Bam. And I think Simmons matches up better with Butler. And that kind of really limits the Heat's offense. They also lost Jay Crowder, which is pretty big. And I am really high on the Sixers going into this season. Heat fans might not like this. And I do think there's a very good chance the Heat make it out of round 1. But that's what I had having here. Then the second round is Bucks, Sixers, and the Nets, Celtics. And this is where a big upset is going to be occurring. I have the Celtics winning in 6 games. And I think this is going to be Jason Tatum's like, okay, I'm a top 10 player in this league. I'm a bona fide superstar. This is going to be his performance when everyone's like, yeah, this guy's going to be an MVP. And he's going to be winning a few championships in the future. And then there's Bucks 76ers. And as high as I am on the 76ers, I have a lot of issues seeing them beating the Bucks. So I'm going to be going Bucks in 7. Really wanted to go 76ers here, but I just can't see it. So now the matchup is Bucks Celtics for the Eastern Conference Finals. And this is one of the closer matchups, actually. The Celtics don't really match up the greatest with the Bucks, and that's why I'm going to be taking the Bucks in 6 games over the Boston Celtics in one season. And first season after Giannis signs his Supermax, I have them making the NBA Finals. So I have the Bucks making it out of the East, and I do think the Celtics have a good chance. I do think Philly has a good chance. I do think Brooklyn has a good chance. Those are my top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference after round 1. I'm not as high on Brooklyn as many other people. I just don't see this working out as well. They do have good pieces, but I just don't think the locker room is the greatest with Kyrie and KD. And if this team gets into tough situations, Kyrie is not the guy I want being the team leader. That's just how it is for me. I have the Bucks making it. Now we're in the Western Conference. This one's going to be a little bit quicker probably because there are good matchups, but the top few teams are probably better than in the East. This isn't as even as a Western Conference to say. So I have the Lakers beating the Jazz in 5 games. I have the Clippers beating the Mavericks again, 2 years in a row, two seed and 7 seed in 6 games. I have the Blazers beating the Rockets in 7, and I have the Suns upsetting the Denver Nuggets in 6 games. So this is an interesting second round to look at. Lakers, Clippers, Blazers, Suns. I don't think Dallas makes it just because I don't think the chemistry is going to be as great when Porzingis returns. That team, because I don't know, he's going to be back, they say January-ish, but I think it is going to be a little later. And the Clippers, they have a lot to prove this season, and I think they have a pretty good shot this year. So now we have Lakers, Suns, and Clippers, Blazers. I have the Clippers winning against Portland in 6 games. And Phoenix versus Lakers. The Suns just don't have the bigs to match up with the Lakers. It's as simple as that. I just don't see how that works out for them. I have the Lakers winning in 6 games as well to give us the Western Conference Finals matchup that majority of us wanted, unless you're like a Nuggets fan or Blazers fan or something. We get the Battle of LA. And to make it a little interesting, don't want to do the same, Lakers, Bucks, Lakers, so-and-so. I'm going to say Clippers in 7. I do think the Lakers are favored in this matchup, probably 60-40. But I'm going to do a little bit of an upset prediction here. Have the Clippers winning. I did go with the Bucks, which I believe is the consensus pick out of the East. Or at least not consensus, but the favored pick. So I'm going to go have a little interesting pick here in the West. And have a Clippers versus Bucks finals. And before we go into who I think wins the finals, this is really big for multiple people's legacies. The biggest including Paul George and Giannis. Both of those players have gotten a lot of hate recently. Paul George especially. Giannis is still very young. He has a lot of time before he can win a championship. I mean, he signed a 5-year extension. He has time. He's on the Bucks for like the next 6 seasons or something. But Paul George, he signed that massive extension with the Clippers. He's not getting any younger. He's not getting any better. And Meaning you're asking, are we going to ever see that 2018-2019 Paul George where he was an MVP candidate ever again? And I think part of that does return this season. I don't think he was ready coming off of that shoulder injury last season. And also, I just don't think he did very well in the playoffs. That wasn't really what I think he's going to be playing like. He just didn't perform very well. So I think no matter who wins this game, it'll probably be a 6-7 game series. And I'm going to be taking the LA Clippers in 7 games to win the finals. And your finals MVP is Kawhi Leonard. I think that I just feel like the Clippers are definitely better this year, and I just don't see the Lakers winning it. They could very well win it. It's just LeBron is getting older. AD is still, he's a good player. I don't think he's top 5. He can't lead the team by himself. And behind AD and LeBron, this team definitely got better depth-wise. But I just don't see the same team chemistry. We saw what happened to the Clippers last season when you have bad chemistry. And of course, LeBron, none of his teams have had terrible chemistry, but so many people moving in and out can really hinder a team. And I'm going to say this right now. I think Rajon Rondo is the reason the Lakers won the finals or even made it there. He was such a key part to that team. If that was not him, or if it was someone else, that team could very well have not made it. Obviously, LeBron and AD are the two main reasons, but Rajon Rondo, he was the X factor. If they do not have him, it's a much tougher road. And I don't see anyone being that Rajon Rondo, that veteran who you can rely on. Because other than LeBron, this is a kind of younger team if you think of it. Like, they have a lot of players in their prime, like Schroeder. They have Harrell, who they got from the Clippers. But they don't have, like, Rajon Rondo, the guy who's had a lot of experience in the playoffs. He's won before on different teams, been on multiple teams, mini playoff runs. Like, you could say Wesley Matthews, but I don't think Wesley Matthews is nearly as impactful as Rajon Rondo. So, those are my thoughts on what I think the NBA regular season and playoffs will turn out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and what you think the finals matchup is going to be and who wins and how many games. So, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and have a great day.